The last panel of the day on the Chainlink stage will be Pseudonymity and DeFi. Exciting panel. On the panel, we have the DaPWhisper from Badger DAO, Oxmaki from Sushi Swap, Burt Banksy from Burt Finance, Scooby Triples from Alchemex, and Mild Giraffe from Auto Farm. Welcome, guys. Can't wait to have this discussion. I'm the only one here with an actual name to the face or face to the name. So great to kick off this panel and love to hear what you guys have to share with us today.
Yeah, thanks, Lauren.
Of course. Yeah, so it would just be great to hear about, what you guys are working on right now with your projects, what it's like to be pseudonymous in crypto. And yeah, just please feel free to have an open dialogue and I'll chime in when needed.
Sure, so I guess I'll kick things off there. Hey everybody, I'm DaPWhisper. I'm a contributor at Badger DAO, and we're a community whose mission is to bring Bitcoin to DeFi and to be the best and most trusted place to earn yield on that Bitcoin. And that's our mission. We have a lot of products around that suite, which I'd love to talk about as I talk about it all the time, but I'll let everyone else introduce themselves and their projects.
Hi, I'm Scooby Triples. I'm a co-founder of Alchemex, which is a platform that allows you to take out loans that repay themselves, which is basically it creates a more capital efficient loans because your collateral is earning yield, which actually pays off your debt over time. So you can spend and save at the same time. And I think that's a pretty cool thing.
Definitely. How about Burt Banksy?
Awesome. Hey guys, thanks for having me. Appreciate it. We are currently building a decentralized auction protocol on Solana and very excited to be sharing a stage with such amazing founders.
Welcome, welcome, Scooby Trooples.
Hello.
Hello. Oh, sorry. And we got, I'm going through the names. Mild Giraffe, how are you doing today?
Hello, everybody, doing good. Yeah, this is Mild Giraffe from Auto Farm. I'm the founder of Auto Farm, and Auto Farm is basically a yield aggregation platform. So we focus on low fees to help you aggregate your yield across basically all of DeFi and all chains. So we are also moving on towards other aggregation services such as DEX aggregation, which is basically something like one-inch exchange, whereby we help aggregate swaps so that users get the best rates for their swaps. So basically, we're trying to be a DeFi service which aggregates all other DeFi services. Yeah, great to be on the panel.
Great to have you here. Oxmaki.
Hey, we're a community-led AMM that is also offering various protocols and services. We have Keshi, and we have Miso, which is a launchpad. So right now we're kind of working on Trident or next gen AMM, and we're multi-chain.
Awesome. Yeah, so I could just open the table for you guys to discuss whatever you like, but I guess what excites you most about being pseudonymous, and how did you decide to go about having an anon name versus an in-person personality?
I think I can kind of start, and I think for me it kind of started. We purchased a Banksy, burned it, and turned it into an NFT. And I think a lot of the principles that we got from that kind of transformed itself into what Burnt Finance is, and then a lot of that being the main focus that we wanted to focus on was the actual event itself, and then even string over to Burnt Finance. I think a lot of it is, you think of something like Facebook, you think Mark Zuckerberg. I think something that's very interesting in the way that we are is that, we don't really care, right? I think for me, I want all of the attention and the focus to be shifted onto Burnt Finance and what we're building in the community that we're establishing, rather than, I guess, any real personal goal. And I think there kind of comes an aspect when building a decentralized protocol that, we don't really want this to be a signal of a founder or that of a CEO position, right? I think as we especially start to become more decentralized, we really want to shift that focus to a community effort where by an individual, by itself isn't really anything, but the community is kind of where the focal point is.
Definitely. I can definitely see that. It has less to do with the individual and more about the community, which I believe is why crypto's so interesting, just from Satoshi Nakamoto. the mystery always remains. So I feel like that is a goal for many projects, is something definitely to seek. Does anybody else have any input on what it's like to be pseudonymous in crypto?
Yeah, so I totally agree. Like a big inspiration for me is like the early cypherpunk movement and Satoshi, of course. Like that's an amazing story. And I love what you said, Bernd, thanks to you, about like the project is designed to be an open collective protocol that evolves like well beyond like the original creators, right? And so at Badger, we're very much like trying to cultivate that type of environment as well. And we also just want to be anon friendly and non-anon friendly, right? Like we have a mix of both on the team, and it's great. Like some people do video calls, some people are audio only, some people are text only. And just kind of cultivating that open vibe where it matters just about what you're doing rather than like any other characteristics.
Awesome. Yeah. Dude, does anybody here find it challenging to keep their identity secret?
I mean, yes, and
keep it secret.
Yeah. I mean, I think that there comes a point where it's like, I think a lot of interaction is a lot easier when you are kind of face to face, and you can have these interactions and pick up, kind of cues and emotions with people talking. And that's so, for me, that's, I guess, one of the biggest challenges, especially doing a panel in all, anon figures. I'm not going to lie. I was like very much questioning the fact whether we were going to have our cameras on or not, and just wear like a mask. And I have a mask and sunglasses right here just in preparation.
I love it. You're always be prepared to, conceal your identity. Yeah. Obviously, I have taken the step to be on screen all the time, but I respect all of you that have taken all these extra measures to keep it anonymous and always keep everybody guessing. I think it's something that makes crypto super exciting and also draws a lot of people to the community as well. Anybody else? Let's think. DaPWhisper, do you have anything to say on this topic?
Avatars are fun. I will say that. I have enjoyed that. Yeah, it's. I would say it's been less challenging than I might have expected, right? Because it's part of the culture. Like it's fairly normalized. There are plenty of times it's like, oh, I want to go on videos with more people, and enjoy conferences and talk about it and that sort of stuff. And so that day may very well come. But overall, I found it very easy, specifically due to the nature of this field, where like most things are online anyway, and the culture is conducive to it.
Definitely. Yeah. Now, how did you, strange question, but how did you choose a Badger DAO over any other animal DAO?
So it was actually not my creation. It was Spada, Chris Spadafora, one of the founders, who is not anonymous, came up with that, and I thought it was awesome. It's based on the honey badger meme of Bitcoin, which is great. So yeah, I cannot claim credit for that, but I can claim that it is an awesome choice, and it's been a lot of fun. All the 8-bit characters and stuff.
Yes, no, it is an awesome choice. Yeah, I'm honestly just curious. Obviously, Oxmaki, I totally understand coming from Sushi Swap. Scooby Trooples, I don't fully understand, but it would be great to hear.
By the way, actually, what is funny is the name was picked before sushi existed.
Really?
So if you look at my Twitter, actually, you can see that this account was created like in June before like sushi was launched, and I was not involved at all. So it kind of was destiny, I guess. This name just happened to be, It's very strange, but
that's very strange. Time might be working. We don't know which way it goes, so you never know. Yeah, I'm happy to open the floor to discuss whatever you guys would like to talk about. Scooby, what do you have any input on? Where did you? It's funny moderating a panel staring at a purple witch.
I'm actually a couch. I should have.
You said a couch with a witch.
Yes, I should have had my one where I was slurping the dipperino, but I did not have that on my Zoom, unfortunately. So the name Scooby Trooples, I'm really big into Dungeons and Dragons, and one of my characters was just like a joke character for a short campaign that we were doing. I just named it Scooby Trooples. And then when I joined crypto Twitter, like my normal handle I use other places on the internet wasn't available. So I was like, oh, Well, I do like the Scooby Trooples characters that I made in Dungeons and Dragons, and that became my my handle. And yeah, now I'm a witch couch. I don't really get it anymore. It's just kind of gotten weird. The whole couch thing. Let's not get into that.
I kind of want to get into it more now.
Then just sit on him.
Just have a seat. It's comfy.
Lauren, do you need me to explain the backstory of Burnt Banksy? Or...
I would love. I think I understand the story.
Okay,
I'd love for you
yeah.
to explain it now. Banksy, another true hero of many. I walked by when he sold his paintings. I remember in Central Park a few years back. I was right around the corner. Should have bought it. So just always be vigilant of who you're around, especially in an anonymous world.
Exactly. Always buy art from the street in New York. That's the lesson to take out of it.
Yes. Does anybody on this panel fear of being doxxed frequently? Or do you guys feel pretty secure right now?
I think anyone like motivated enough can find who you are, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
I think OPSEC is like super important, but you shouldn't be like paranoid about it. I have a small kind of question actually for others. What do you think is the number of anons having alt accounts too? I feel this is not that much discussed, and we're starting to see, I think, like personally, I'm starting to see kind of and pick up some in that potentially like a lot of people in the space that are like potentially like, without naming any names, that are like, actors, developers, VC or else of anons, but not necessarily like just one character per se. And this is starting to be very cumbersome, in my opinion. What are your thoughts on it? To push some narrative, especially.
And I know that there was some controversy in the NFT space because like apparently like a lot of the influencers were the same person. I think that's what went down. I forget exactly who was involved in it, but there was like, some drama a few weeks ago that quickly got forgotten. But, that could be a thing where like you could, drive market demand or make it seem like all these other people are really into it, and generate a lot of buzz by, sibling yourself and having multiple accounts.
I think it's also interesting because I'd like to pose a question in a different way, because I feel like as an alt account, I guess it's very interesting, but I feel like more non-anonymous accounts have these, dual and I guess accounts much more than that in the pseudo-anon community, where they can, whether they express themselves.
That's also what I meant. Like people are docs that have potentially not just one anon or alt, but multiple. How do we feel about this?
Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting. Like, I guess kind of on a personal level, I'm not really that afraid of being doxxed. I think there are a couple key people that do know who I am. And so realistically, it is not difficult at all to dox me. I can't speak for all of you guys, but yeah, I do know that there are some key people that kind of know who I am and have seen my face without the mask, sunglasses, and hat before.
How many people in this group are the only person there? You are the only one who knows who you are, or does everybody have a fail-safe one trusted person? Because I think it's probably good for most people's moral, or just to stay afloat every day, to have one person understand your secret identity.
I'd say around 5 people know who I am, and that's just because like, I've been talking with them for such a long time that I got sloppy a few times, and they've learned, I shared the wrong Google document, or, I was sharing my screen and it had some personal information on it, things like that. So like a handful of people who I'm close with still like, know, if they, screenshot it or they wrote it down or they remembered it, they know like my name and some stuff about me. But other than that, I largely protected. But as Maki says, if somebody really wants to know who you are, nothing's going to stop them.
Yeah, I definitely
else?
agree with that take. It wasn't like my OPSEC wasn't like pristine from the beginning, right? Like I kind of did it more like on a whim to start. And so yeah, there's definitely a number of people who know who I am, which is fine. Like I'm not like super attached to the pseudonymous thing, but I found it fun so far for sure.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, I think definitely same here for me. I think I started out as Mal Giraffe, like I think years back before I started AutoFarm. So I think Mal Giraffe's like this name, I've been using it for years, mainly in the gaming community. And when I had to create a pseudonymous identity, I just used Mal Giraffe as well, without really thinking too much about it. But yeah, looking back, that wasn't too much of a good move, I think, to remain anonymous.
Interesting. So yeah, leading me to the next question. The crypto and degen community has varying opinions of legitimacy of anon projects these days and DeFi and adjacent projects, especially as smaller and unknown projects come to market or rugged and abandoned by their communities. What can anon projects and builders such as yourselves do to prove that you're legitimate projects without doxing yourself, as mentioned before?
It's all about the output, I think. It's all about what you guys are producing, what are like the measure in place to, you know, kind of bypass these rug pulls, all the audits and so on. It's really like gaining trust is a process, and it's all about being transparent. Like I will never trust, you know, fully anons or like just typing. I don't trust people that are not able to come up with their voice, come up with not necessarily videos, but you know, there's like you need to have some skin in the game a little bit, and the people not doing so, they don't deserve any trust, in my opinion. Or you know, you assume that they will always quote unquote be evil until, you know, yeah, that is the key part. I think it's a process. Trust is earned, and at the end of the day, especially for anons, you know, everything is on chain. Everything, like code is law, and you know, like the time log for sushi, for example, everyone can see it. Everyone can see your actions. So that is why, and some people don't think it's good, and that's fair. But you know, it's been 1 year, it's been highly successful, and we still are here trying to earn this respect.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think it's all about developing a track record, right? Like there's no substitute for just like this actions and developing trust with the community over time, as well as putting structures in place that, you know, limit the amount of damage that's possible. And in Badger's case, it's a little more interesting because we have a mixed team, if you will. Like there are some people who go by their real identities and there's some people who are pseudonymous. And so that probably, we're probably in a little bit of a more advantageous position from that perception. I actually can't think of any other projects that are like that. It's quite interesting.
Anybody else?
I mean,
so
you just have.
sorry.
Oh, sorry.
All good. Thank you.
Yeah, I think you just have to like establish a track record. You know, it's, you know, as Maki was saying, you have to build trust. It's a process. If your team is, you know, shipping code, they're taking security seriously. They do minimum basic things like a multi-sig and a time lock for administrative functions. They cut out the ability to migrate and thus like rug funds from users and stuff like that in like, you know, farming pools and, you know, the protocol itself, like things like that go a long way to securing, you know, people's trust in you. Another thing you can do with an anon team, and it's hard to do in a lot of DeFi protocols, is to make your code like completely ossified from like day one. You just release it and like that is the product, and like there's no parameters that can be changed, and the contract itself can't be changed. And that's like the most decentralized and secure thing you could do. And at that point, like as long as it's past audits, it doesn't matter if it's anon or not, because nobody can change it. And Sushi's like that for a lot of its like base functions too. So commend them for that.
So as your guys' protocols grow, are you going to reconsider being pseudonymous, or do you think it's best to be even more secure about your identity as you grow to make sure nobody knows who you are?
I think it's interesting because I think this kind of goes back to the point earlier of focus on the project. I think rather than being, you know, keeping up with the anonymity, you know, I think the goal is to kind of blend in with the community at a certain point. I think like look at like Satoshi Nakamoto, right? I think whether he's dead or he's alive, whoever the real alias was, Bitcoin continues to live on, even though there's not a Satoshi Nakamoto doing Chainlink Labs panels. And so, although some people might say that they are, and I think it's more about a long run project view rather than a, I think even, you can get to this point of being anonymous and say, oh, I'm not about the clout, so I'm anonymous. But then if you continue to raise your anonymous profile, is that really better? Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. It makes sense to me. Does it make sense to everybody else in the group?
Yeah, I think like reputation is everything. That's what I hear, and I mean I find it to be true as well. I mean, even a non-anonymous identity or profile. I mean, when you come out to face the public, people still won't give you the trust right away, right? You still need to earn it. You still need to put in the work to gain the trust. I guess it's the same for anonymous profile, and I guess I mean. Referring back to Oxmaki's point about having an alternative anonymous profile, I think the main deterrence there for most anons would be like you kind of have to earn the respect again as well as an alternative anonymous profile. When like you could just get a good rep and continue building up stuff, gaining trust from the public with the same anonymous profile. So. I think it could be possible that that anonymous profile could just be like you could identify with that anonymous profile just as much as you could identify with your actual name, for example.
Yeah. So if you were to be running a team of 250 plus and growing people, do you think it'd be really, really difficult to remain anonymous while running such a large team?
I'm not really that anonymous within the organization. I mean, I think this is just a personal thing where it's like most of all of us kind of know each other, and even if it's like seeing each other and hanging out or something, I think it really helps, especially just even working together, right? And so whether it be 250 people, 1,000 people, or just one person, I think there's a veil of anonymity that at least personally we've tried to not contain within the organization, just so that we can, even internally establish some nuance of trust.
How would you say, oh, sorry, please go ahead.
In contrast to that, like in Alchemics, like none of the members of our team have really doxed or shown our faces to each other. But to counter that, we've actually like been hanging out in like Crypto Degen Discord since 2017. And like for years, we had been brainstorming different app ideas and trying to build projects and, getting nowhere. And then finally, we had a really, really good idea in 2020 and built that. And that was Alchemic. So having that shared history with all those people and, being friends with them for so long, kind of, built up that trust. So even though we don't know each other, personally and don't know, much about each other's personal lives, we still, trust each other. It's sort of like NASA astronauts, they have to spend so much time training together. So like they can like anticipate, their crew, their other shipmates, like, every, feeling and thought and things like that. And I feel like our team has that as well, because we just know each other so well. It doesn't matter if we're, we can see each other's facial expressions or not.
Yeah, I think it's absolutely possible to build strong relationships without that aspect, purely through, text mediums and just like doing shared activities together. I do think it is easier being non-anonymous for sure. Definitely miss like, in-person interaction and stuff. But yeah, like at Badger, we're scaling the team quite a bit right now. And so I think that's been a relatively small part of it. It's mainly just about, we're just scaling an engineering organization, all the usual issues that come along there, as well as having like the decentralized twists on everything and trying to figure out those structures has been more of the issue than anything regarding like identities.
But by the way, Scooby, that brings up something very interesting. You know, they were knowing each other before forming this team. Whether or not they know in person or anonymous, they had like this background. Where it gets dangerous for all these kind of rogue kind of dev and so on and rug pulls is when you absolutely don't know the people you're working with. And whether you're hiring them, whether, you know, you just kind of made a connection online, it can be very difficult to filter them out. And I think that's where having a basic kind of insurance, oh, you know what, you're doxed to me, I dox myself to you. If we do something wrong, then guess what? You're in trouble. This is kind of quite powerful, actually, I think. Regardless, you know, in some countries, potentially, like it might be harder and, you know, you never know, maybe they give you false information and then you need to double check and so on. But this is a problem that, you know, we had to face early on for ourselves. And, you know, like by bringing, of course, like dox people, that helps a little bit, but I don't think, personally, like I'm never against onboarding these anonymous kind of developers and so on. And from all the whole kind of sushi team, I know none of them more than, you know, 1 year now because we had like sushi. So that is a very different dynamic than, you know, like actually starting a project with people, you know, that and now becoming quote unquote anonymous. Very different.
Yeah, we're very much limited to kind of like circles of trust for people who we can hire. Like if like one person we're bringing on came from actually a referral from your coworker, Joseph DeLong. And thankfully, you know, we had that referral because, you know, finding skilled, you know, coders who, you know, might be anonymous as well is kind of tough. Like finding skilled coders like for Solidity is tough in general, but like finding ones that are anon that are also, you know, have people that can vouch for them, that's even tougher. So yeah, that's definitely one bottleneck we have to scaling our organization. Because unless we bring in docs people like, you know, some of you other guys have done. But that's a good idea about, you know, the shared docs. Like, oh, if I bring in somebody, I'll share my docs with them only if they share their docs with me. You know, that type of thing. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I was going to ask, how do Anon devs stay accountable for their actions or decisions for the community, whether the decision was good or bad? Just more trust factor.
Can you repeat this?
How do anonymous developers stay accountable to their actions or decisions for the community? Whether, say it was a bad decision they made or a good decision, how do they stay accountable for it if nobody really knows who they are?
Well, I think the pseudonymous handles like are actually develop like a big reputation around themselves, almost akin to a person. Right. So I feel like if something were to happen along those lines, it's like the project exists and exists outside of each individual person too. And like all the project contributors are incentivized to make it succeed if things are structured well. Right. So I think, yeah, it's about the quality of the account. It's on the community to kind of demand that quality of participants, I guess. And that like, oh, like Oxmaki, like has an amazing reputation, you know, built this up over a period of time, and like losing that, it's not quite at the same level perhaps of, you know, having something happen on your actual identity, but it's pretty bad because yeah, you have to start completely over from scratch.
Yeah, definitely.
I think kind of as we talked about earlier, like, you know, reputation is kind of everything in this. And so even though you're anonymous, you still have this, you know, anonymous reputation. And so you still have this avatar linked to you that has a sense of reputation. And if you mess that up, I mean, it's just like messing up your reputation in real life, but it is significantly harder to build back.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I can jump in like very quickly. If, you know, you do something wrong or shady or scammy, like what are going to be the impact? You know, you're going to get booted out from the project. You're going to get ostracized by the whole community. You're going to get literally like a witch hunt can happen. We've seen it before. I mean, I know a chef that, you know, got in trouble because of his action. You shouldn't underestimate kind of the mob, the swarm of people, of degen. It can be kind of crazy. I've seen it happening. And I don't wish it to absolutely anyone. And that's why I think by staying the most transparent, honest is highly valuable. Not only you're gaining this reputation, but you're better off, you know, like it doesn't pay to do like all these kind of exploits, crime, or whatever it is. Like, it's just pretty much like feeding a greed that is not necessary. I think if you're really in this space for money, then so be it. And, you know, you're going to get kicked out in less time than it takes to break in. If you're here for the long term, the long run, and you actually believe in kind of these values and what we're creating, then it's going to be natural, to be honest. I really think you're going to bubble up very quickly because there is so much to build. It's like, it's a 25-year journey. If you don't understand this now and don't believe it, maybe it's time to reconsider. And kind of all these anon people, like, pretty sure we're gonna slowly kind of de-anonymize at some point because of, you want to have these interaction, you know, these kind of conferences, you want to stay low profile, fine. But the truth is people expect a lot from you. So you need to ship, you know, you need to do it. So I know for me, that's kind of how I see things. I don't know if I'm going to be Oxmaki sushi swap chef for, you know, like 25 years. I don't think so. And that would be a failure for our protocol. But, you know, like the community gave me a mandate and I hope to kind of serve it for the 3 years they gave me. And then after we'll see. And lots of projects have needs and need help. So anyone can always, quote unquote, with this resume up onto another ventures or, you know, help out somewhere else. And that's kind of the beauty of DeFi.
That is the beauty of DeFi. How do all of you form partnerships or integrations with other teams? Are they okay with you being anon, or do they want you to dox yourself? I'm speaking about projects like big companies like Coinbase. When you approach them, how do they react to your anonymous personalities?
And I've been lucky to avoid this issue because a large part of the team just operates under their identities, and they tend to lead those discussions. So I get a get out of jail free card here.
Yeah, I think I follow a similar light in that sense.
We, like, some exchanges have, you know, not even, you know, even asked me any information, just listed us straight up without our involvement at all. But recently we got listed on Gemini, and they required a little bit of personal information just to do a background check to make sure I wasn't a terrorist. But yeah, that's the extent that it's done so far, just because, you know, they have a New York license, so they have, you know, some tighter regulation.
And I think there's also like different levels to this too, right? Where it's like, and then it also begs different questions, right? People know my name and my name is quite common. People know my face. What are you going to, like, in a conference, right? Where does that kind of matter in a sense? And I think the levels of personal information kind of come to light as you proceed. And so as we continue to grow, there's these questions of like, you know, what can I get away with? Like, I'll give you an example. I was in a conference for Solana, speaking on NFT panel, and, you know, walked in with the Solana typical pit vipers and a COVID mask. And at that point, it's, you know, introducing yourself as burnt and, you know, is this good enough? I think we can get away with this. And, you know, we have to ask ourselves, you know, is there a real fear of being doxxed, or is it more than that? Right.
Interesting. Do you think
depends what you build? Depends what you built, I think.
Very true.
Do you guys think that the COVID lockdowns and just not being able to go out into conferences in person has sped up this anon culture?
that and everyone having Cryptopunks as their their avatar.
How does everybody in this panel feel about the CryptoPunks avatar?
It's like Bitcoin, apparently you need to own one, minimum.
Yeah, cool or not cool?
I mean, we like the punks.
Yes.
But one thing I will complain about though is that people are like having a new profile pic like every single week for whatever the flavor of the week NFT project is, and I don't recognize half the people on my feed anymore.
Yeah,
I totally get that. Yeah.
He says that, but he's doing it. How dare you?
I know. I'm a hypocrite. I capitulated today and I got a penguin.
I'm gonna only associate you with being on a couch. If you ever change that, I don't even know who you are anymore.
All right. I need to put my penguin on a couch. All right, time to call Ratwell.
And we actually had some community member make Badger Punks, like a variant for a lot of people on the team, which was cool. Some organic NFT action.
Yeah, I just wanted to cycle back onto what Oxmaki said just now about like coming out of anonymity. I think you mentioned that like you might be considering coming out of anonymity by like if the reason was to carry your, I guess, portfolio into another project to help out another project. Just want to pose this open question of like, yeah, in what situation will you guys come out of anonymity?
I think when I'm not in a position of leadership personally, I will try to de-anon a little bit. We'll see. It's kind of it's a very difficult question, and I guess there's still risk involved and so on. So it's difficult to grasp. Depends why you're doing it too, right? If it's because you want to attend conferences, you pretty much have no choice unless you want to show up with, on a mask, sunglasses, or in a furry suit like Scooby.
Awesome. Well, I guess. Oh, sorry, guys.
Sorry. No, I think that's a very big. I think that's a very great answer because I don't think there's ever going to be a time, at least in the foreseeable future, unless it's the conferences where de-anonymity is really even necessary. Because if I were to come out with like my face and my name, cool, right? If I've done good and my reputation holds, which obviously I think it will, but I think the de-anonymity kind of comes in when you're very comfortable and then on like a kind of need to know basis.
Yeah, same here. I think it'll be just kind of a progressive process over time. But yeah, I would prefer to be less anonymous. Just for the reason of like interacting with more people like in real life,
Yeah, I'm not opposed to like going to conferences and tapping on like someone's shoulder and be like, "Yo, I'm Scooby Triples," like that would be cool. But if I'm gonna be speaking at a conference in person, I'll probably be wearing a furry suit or a mask and sunglasses and a hat or something like that.
Yeah, I really like that take. It's nice that you could theoretically, if everything goes well, you have that kind of design space to work with of like how progressively doxed you are.
Plus, there's also the interesting perspective that I've kind of done a couple times where it's just, I don't pose myself as Burnt Banksy. And I just say, oh yeah, I'm on the Burnt Finance team. And in that kind of vein, I can just get around working and doing what I need to without revealing that, I'm, Burnt Banksy or really any kind of stature.
Awesome. Well, we have a few minutes left, and it'd be great if we could just go around and just talk briefly and quickly about what is coming up next in each of your projects. Happy to start with DaPWhisper.
Sure. Well, we have a ton of stuff going on. I'd say we're just in an expansion phase, building crowd infrastructure, working with new partners, scaling up our team and like DAO processes. And yeah, we have a number of products going on, probably a bit too many to go into here, but yeah, yield aggregation, our interest-bearing Bitcoin, which is a composable tokenized Bitcoin that earns interest, bridging between chains or yield different chains, dig. And yeah, so just general expansion phase.
Awesome. Oxmaki.
Yeah, we're working on the Trident right now. We are targeting like early September release for a new AMM, where you're going to be able to choose like a whole range of flexibility for LPing. We're talking about constant product, which is what we currently have. We're going to talk about range LP position, which is more like similar to UniV3. We're also having like a multi-asset pool, which is very similar to Balancer, and then a weighted pool, which is similar to Curve for 1-to-1 assets. So all of this is going to be releasing pending audits around early September if we're lucky. And otherwise, we have Show You, or NFT exchange, coming online mid-August. So yeah, some very exciting things ahead of us. And
Awesome.
That's about it for us. Yeah.
Super exciting. How about Burnt Banksy? Burnt Banksy. Sorry.
You just call me Burnt. It's easier.
Burnt Banksy.
Drop the
The.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're building, decentralized auctions in Solana, and pending audits, we are set to launch by kind of end of Q3. Kind of very excited, and then kind of currently, as we wait for that, we're trying to implement NFT standards onto Solana.
Awesome. Very excited about that. Scooby.
Yeah, we are currently putting our version 2 under audit. And that's going to allow for multi-collateral ALUSD, different flavors of Ethereum for ALETH. And also it's going to, we're going to add ALBTC to Alchemix at that time as well. And it'll have a number of advantages. And one of them is going to be user choice. So instead of only being able, defaulting to Yearn, they're going to be able to choose different platforms where they can source their yield and for Alchemix. So we're hugely excited for that. That's going to be, we're hoping it's going to be sometime in September. If not, then it'll be definitely in October. And shortly after that, we're going to be looking to launch Alchemix DAO. And move on from the multi-sig snapshot paradigm and into on-chain governance.
Awesome. And Mild Giraffe.
Yeah, I think generally we are also in the general expansion phase, just going multi-chain, getting more vaults into each chain. So this process is actually pretty time consuming. On top of that, we're trying to ramp up our decentralized exchange aggregation product as well. Also going multi-chain, supporting more DEXs. And I think we should be coming out with more exciting products other than yield aggregation and DEX aggregation in the coming months as well.
Awesome. And just to end the day, what are all of your guys' big predictions for 2021 and what's going to happen? Does anybody have any ideas? Happy to go around in the same order again, starting with the DaPWhisper.
Oh man, I don't have any particular predictions. I just hope we're blessed by the pump, blessed by cool projects.
Awesome. Oxmaki.
Sorry, can you just repeat the question?
What do you have any predictions for what's going to happen by the end of 2021 in crypto, DeFi?
Yeah, easy. Explosion of layer 2.
Awesome. Burnt?
I think you're going to see a lot more products becoming multi-chain very, very quickly.
Scoopy?
I think you're going to see is more and more the merger of NFTs and DeFi. NFTs are already starting to become financialized more and more. And I think it's that trend is only going to increase more. And then those two spaces will become almost indistinguishable from each other.
Mild Giraffe?
Yep, this general adoption of DeFi will be accelerated And yeah, definitely multi-chain is the future.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys all for joining the panel today. One of the reasons I joined crypto is because one person or group of people, Satoshi Nakamoto, posted one link on the internet and changed the world. And nobody knows who it is, but they're one of the most famous people that ever existed. So I think it's something everybody could look up to. And I appreciate all of you for your anonymity and taking that road to build out the future of DeFi. It's greatly appreciated in the most non-egotistical way. Thank you guys, and I hope you enjoyed the panel today. Feel free to, if anybody wants to contact them, they have anons, but thanks again. I was like, feel free to reach out to them, but yeah, it's great to have you all, and I really appreciate you guys bringing your anon identities here to the Chainlink ecosystem.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us.
Yep,
Cool.
thanks for having us on.
Yeah,
Bye,
it was
guys.
great to be here. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.